established rich coming right back at you. Sometimes a room goes quiet because somebody said something so crazy. And what happened between Shannon Crowder and Terence Crawford was one of those moments. It started normal, just a question about retirement and a big number. 80, 90, 100 million. Would you come back?
One's after us. So I'm cool with passing the torch.
And bro, you say you did all that work your whole life, undefeated, but you grind to feed your kids and to make better for your family. I always say everything got a price. Because people say, like, I love my dog. I get $100. No, I get $1,000. No, I get $100,000. Hey, you can have him. Like, my thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if everything is about money? Like, I never was in a sport because of money, you know? Of course, I was in a sport to make money, but I wanted to be a world champion. Yeah. You know, I wanted to do something that I set my sights out to do as a little boy.
You can feel the shift right there. You can see where it stopped being a joke for one of them. When Crowder said for 100 million you can have my soul, he said it like most people talk about money, like it's the final answer for everything. Crawford ain't laugh and he ain't play along. He told him straight up, now we know your character. And he wasn't trying to embarrass him. He was pointing to a line. Because when you say something like that, even if you smiling, it tells people how you think. You saying there's a number that makes everything negotiable. And Crawford don't think like that. This is a man who just walked away undisputed. He beat Canelo. He won the belts and he left on his own terms. He didn't get forced out. He didn't get humiliated. He left with his health and his name clean. So when that number got thrown out there, he wasn't hearing opportunity. He was hearing, what would it cost you? That's a different way of listening. A lot of people hear 100 million and their mind starts moving. They start thinking about what it could buy, who it could impress, what it could improve. Crawford heard that and said, why would I need to do it if I'm already good? That's the part people miss. It's not about whether the money is real. It's about whether or not you still hungry for a number after you've already won. When Crowder said you can have my soul for that price, he was talking reckless. But Crawford was talking like a man who knows that if everything has a price, then nothing is sacred. And you could see it on his face. He wasn't offended. He was disappointed. Like, that's how you think? Because once you put a price on your soul, what can't be bought? If a number can move you off your principle, then your principles are not strong. And this ain't about religion. It ain't about being perfect. This is about having a line you don't cross, even if the check is heavy. Crawford already defined what enough looks like for him. He wasn't looking at the number trying to figure out if it made him more of a man. He was looking at it like, I don't need that to know who I am. That's why he said what he said. Not to flex, just to draw a line. 2 men, same room, same number. One saw a bag and one saw a trade. And that right there is the whole conversation, because this is where it gets even more real. When Terence Crawford told him, now we know your character, he wasn't trying to win an argument. He was pointing to a mindset, and that mindset is everywhere. The idea that if the number is big enough, everything opens up. Everything bends. Everything can be discussed. That's how people talk now. For that money, boy, I'd do it. But nobody ever stop and ask, do what? Because when you say you can have my soul, even joking, you are saying there is no internal line. You are saying your core is negotiable. Crawford don't move like that. He walked away after beating Canelo. He walked away undisputed. Not because he couldn't fight anymore, but because he decided he was done. A lot of men don't know how to leave when they full. They leave when they forced. They leave when the body breaks. They leave when the respect fades. Crawford left when he was still him. So when you throw 100 million in front of a man like that, you ain't just offering money. You testing whether his decision was real or not. You testing whether I'm done really means I'm done. And his response was clear. He don't want boxing to retire him. He retired boxing. That's a big difference. When Crowder laughed about the soul, you could see the disappointment in Crawford's eyes. He heard a man saying money is the final answer to everything. And if money is your final answer, then what happens when the number gets bigger? Is it 200 million next time? Is it 3? If your standards move with the number, then you don't have a standard, you have a scale. And a scale always tips. Crawford looked at that moment like a man who has already seen what chasing does. He didn't even sound tempted. He sounded secure. There's a difference between wanting more and need more to feel valid. And you could hear which side Bud was on. When you've already accomplished everything, more money doesn't add identity. It just adds more zeros. And zeros don't define a man. What defines a man is what he won't do, what he won't compromise, what he won't sell. And that's why that word soul hits hard. Because everybody knows what that means, even if they don't want to say it out loud. It means your core. It means your non-negotiable. It means the part of you that money should never be able to touch. Crawford drew his line without yelling, without performing. He just stood still. And sometimes staying still is the strongest move in the room. Because he wasn't defending a belt, he was defending his boundaries. And boundaries are harder to hold than titles. When Channing Crowder said what he said, he was speaking from a culture that worships the bag. Crawford was speaking from a place that worships self-respect. That's why it felt heavier than it looked. Money by itself is not evil. Money is a tool. But the love of money, that's the difference. The love of money makes you say, just this once. The love of money makes you feel like there's one more number that could finally make you feel complete. Crawford didn't sound like a man chasing completion. He sounded like a man who already knew he had enough. And enough is a dangerous word in a world built on more. More deals, more checks, more status. But if you can't define enough, you'll never reach it. And that's the part people don't want to sit with. There are men with hundreds of millions who can't sleep. There are men with less who rest easy. The difference is not the number. The difference is whether money owns you or you own it. Crawford walked away when he was still on top. He ain't need another check to prove his worth. And that's a rare thing to do. A lot of people can't turn down a number that big because the number becomes their identity. It becomes the measure of their value. And once money defines you, it controls you. Crawford ain't flinch. He ain't calculate. He ain't start imagining what 100 million could buy. He stayed where he was. That's peace. That's humility. That's a man who knows that some things are not for sale. And when you know that, money stops being a master and starts becoming a tool. That moment on the podcast wasn't loud and it wasn't dramatic, but it was clear. Two men, same number, two different values. One saw a bag, one saw a boundary. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. What has a price and what doesn't. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.
It's time to define that statement because it gets stated so much about what does it mean to sell your soul. All you're really saying is money make your decisions. If that definition is the real definition, then even the people that think they're not selling their soul is selling their soul.
But you grind to feed your kids and to make better for your family. I always say everything got a price. Because people say, like, I love my dog. I get $100. No, I get $1,000. No, I get $100,000. Hey, you can have him. Like, my thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man.